In this series, about every week or so, I will take a random archetype from all the archetypes that exist in Yu-Gi-Oh! Ranging from meta-relevant ones, like Dogmatica, to the truly underwhelming ones like Warrock, building a deck out of it and making 2 videos covering the archetype. A deck profile and a video where I commentate over some replays, aka matches with the deck. This Odyssey of mine will continue until I cover every single archetype in the game. Hello people, Shinikami here with today's episode of Odyssey. We're covering Beetrooper. Now I'm gonna be honest here, I kind of line skipped. I decided to prioritize Beetrooper. The reason for this is somewhat simple. A friend of mine in real life wants to build a deck. He wants to do a theory crafting session soon, so I think that's might as well just get some experience with the deck. And feature it in Odyssey, so that way I have a profile, I have some replays, and yeah. You all know my vision on the deck. So this build runs one unique combo, the Goyo Defender build. I will not be wasting any time, I'll just instantly show it off. So if you just have Sting the Poison, you can do this combo. Just get these 2 on the field. You have to Goyo Defenders, only 2. And that's a 1-card Sisada King. Now this is a really good XC, that's also an insect. I'll talk about it later, but just realize that that's a 1-card. It does use your normal summon, but there's a lot of extenders in this deck. Henceforth, it's at least in my opinion being worthwhile, simply due to the fact that you only need to run 2 additional Goyo Defenders in your extra deck. Nothing in the main deck even changes. Also the Sisada King can go into Zeus, so that's also another thing to note. So yeah, main deck wise we run a lot of the little guys and some extenders, some unique extenders. A lot of people play this, but I like to retort one Quackar Hercules. Now one big issue if you play this in real life is that there's no reprint for this fusion. And it's the only real insect target, so you're gonna be paying a lot of money for this card. I'm not sure how expensive it is in real life. But yeah, we run one of the heavy Beetrooper in order to summon it. You must shuffle 3 of your banished insect monsters into the main deck. Now this is not hard to accomplish because Armorhorn banish 3 other insects from the grave to special summon it, and then this can be summoned afterwards. It's kind of a tough boss to get rid of. It has a lot of attacks, so your barrier-like trap is easier to keep active. And it has an end phase effect, which you can then negate with Sisada King, which then can trigger the special summon effect. It's a little tiny combo that can come up. Doomdozer is just that each summon, you need to banish the insect from the grave, but besides it's kind of each to summon big monster. Is one of your targets with Resonator Insect. Resonator Insect can also search Kumangus, one of the Kaijus, that's why I run it, it's an insect. There's also some other synergy, but mostly just being able to search it is nice. Searchable Kaiju is always nice. Cyber Dragons usually also run a Kaiju for a similar reason. We run 2 Sting Lancers, all the replays focused or featured me only running 1 Sting Lancer. After the replays I realized this was a mistake. You need 2 Lancers. Reason being that you basically always want to target in your deck for the Invincible Atlas, since this will search a spell or a trap, including your counter trap, which just makes your board way better. It's just a monster negate, it's really nice. And you also want 1 in your hand if possible, due to the interruption effect. During the main phase you can target insect monster in your grave and 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon this card and then shuffle both of them into the decks. Then if it's special summon, you can search a spell again. So if you summon 1 in your turn and 1 in your opponent's turn, you get 2 searches. If you take 2 as an ideal number, 1 might even consider 3. It's a really good card. The Graveyard Interruption can be relevant against many strategies. It's one of the reasons why Called by the Grave is limited. It doesn't just stop hand traps. Graveyard Interruption is always great in a lot of metas. That's why I run 2 of this. I like this for the grind game, that's why I run it as 1. It's not exactly something you want to draw early on, but if you like draws in a grind game, it's really great. This is basically when normal summon can target level 3 or low insect in your grave, special summon it in defense, which I think is just really great. It's like a Junk Synchron, you know? Instant link to, it's nice, I like it. But naturally, either you open something like Mothman or you need an additional normal summon. I guess this does give you an additional normal summons from the grind game. You could just revive this and then summon this. It's not a bad card, but you don't want to open it at all, in my opinion. Might disagree on that, but yeah. Danger Mobman, it's just a self-summoning insect. It also kind of clears your hand, so if you break, boom. Also there's like the Resonator insect with a somewhat graveyard effect. You want insects in your grave for certain effects, like the Assault Roller, so yeah. Even if you misfire, this card can be great. 2 copies of Assault Roller. Due to the high volume of level 4s, by the way, including the Boltman Extender I consider to rank 4, it really have the extra deck space. Or could it something like a Dugaris, or, you know, a rank 4 that you like. I just didn't really find space. But yeah, this is basically just banish any insect from your grave, special summon it. Gains attack for each insect you control, except itself, and when it's destroyed the battle, you can search a Beetrooper monster. It kind of floats, they must run over it and without battle to give you no search. In those cases, you run a few negates, so yeah. Triple Resonance Insect, one of the best normal summons. If it's sent from the field to the grave, you can search level 5 or higher insect, which includes the Sting Lancer, which you usually want to search from my experience. There's also the Kaiju, there's also the Doomdozer, there's also the Mighty Neptune. Keep in mind it's only 1000 attacks, so if you normal summon this, you can go to Almirage. And that can be relevant. That's something you must know. And if this card is banished, you can set the insect from the deck to the grave except itself. I don't run a good target for this. Am I missing something? I couldn't find a good target for it's foolish. Besides just getting the amount of insects in your graveyard up in general. Did I miss something? Tell me in the comments, I might have, but I couldn't find any really great foolish targets for this. But then again, not exactly an insect expert or anything, so yeah. Triple Scale Bomber. If an insect monster is normal special summoned, you can special summon it from your hand, free extender. When a monster you control activates effect quickly, you can tribute the insect monster to destroy it. Sure, it does negate, but it's an easy extender, and it has 2000 defense, you can special summon it. It's kind of tough to get rid of without monster effect. If they activate monster effect, you can just tribute the insect, destroy it. So, the neat thing is, sure it does negate, but if they target one of your insects, you can just chain this, tribute the same insect, and destroy that monster. For example, if they have an insect, if they have a monster that is removal. So that's a nice, it has a nice effect on top for being an extender, so I figured 3 instead of 2. Most of the extenders I run at 2, because most of them have hard on turns. This one is great enough to justify running 3. 2 Twin Body Attacker. During the main phase you can special summon this from your hand, also you can only summon insect monsters from extra deck for the rest of the turn. Kind of a trade-off, but it's still somewhat free extender and makes it really easy to go into Seaside decking. This is also level 3, so the Seaside decking is a great option for this deck. Let's talk about this card. It's 500 defense, which is huge. If the battle position of this card is changed, you can special summon insect from your hand or graveyard in defense. When a monster on the field activates effect, you can as a quick effect attach material to target monster and negate it. Then make an insect monster on the field gain 5 defense or change battle position. So with certain setup, you can just revive a monster on top of having a negate. Negates are always nice. It's an insect, so you're not locked out of this. Very good XP boss monster. So having level 3s is really nice. Scout Buggy is one of the first revealed cards, if not the first one. While you control this card, you can basically not special summon anything except insects. And if it's normal special summon, you can special summon another Scout Buggy from your hand, deck, or grave. Very good effect, just instant rank 3, instant link, instant extra materials. I really like it. Sting the Poison. If this is normal summoned, you can search a Battle West monster, except itself. If you already have been, then you could theoretically search one of this, or one of this. You can also just search this. If you open one of these two, you can search the other. Or since it's a level 2 tuner, you can search this, a level 1, special summon it, since you can special summon it if you control an insect. And go into the Gaia Defender Play Show to start the video. One of the best normal summons in this deck. Just a generic extender, you can inflict a little bit of burn, so in time you win the game. It's nice. 2 Retard Fusion, or sorry, Ready Fusion. Kind of used the OCG name. Well, the pre-translation one. And the Quaggar Hercules, we just have this Ready Fusion target. It's really the only great insect option there was, if I'm not mistaken. If I missed something. I believe this was the only target, and this is a tournament pack 1 and 2 card or something like that. So it's hella expensive. So yeah, if you want to play this deck in real life, pray for a reprint or find another extender. Like a graveyard target for Resonance Insect that I probably missed out on, people will point out in the comments. You of course run 1 Monster Reborn, it's just... The ability to revive one of the links is huge. This card doesn't care where it's special summoned from. If it's special summoned from the grave, you can trigger it. I guess that's one thing you can do with Resonance Insect, is you can send the Scout Bug, and then if you have your Succession or Monster Reborn in your hand, you can then revive the insect from your grave. So these have some uses, mostly link climbing, just reviving links in general is very valuable. Just keep in mind that this can equip, at the cost of discarding a card, an insect control with an insect from the deck. So you can equip the Resonance Insect, that's something to keep in mind as well. If you like link climbing, that can be very useful. Just off the place. Anyways, Beetrooper Descent, I think only played at 2, there are reasons to play at 3 possibly, but... Cannot use them for XC, so they're link material only, and we're not really using synchros that much, so... It isn't that much better than any roll extender. So you can special summon a Beetrooper token, which is a level 3 1000 insect. But then if you control an insect with 3000 more attack, you can destroy another spell or trap on the field. There are situations where the destruction comes up, but it's not often. So 2 is fine, you can search them. 1 called by the grave. The graveyard is just very strong at the moment. And of course also just countering hand traps. Because you have some cards like Sting that have fragile to hand traps. 1 field spell, I feel like 1's enough, you just only want 1 in the game. You don't need this field, it's an extender. You can target the Beetrooper monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but it cannot attack this turn, and then you lose life points equal to its original attack. It only revives specifically Beetroopers, however. And if a face-up insect monster controls through a battle card effect, you can special summon a token. I mean, theoretically it's great, but in practice, you know, you can search it with the Lancer, and outside of that, it would just be a very tricky card to both 1, I feel like. Triple Impermanence, setting this turn 1 is very great still, and it makes going second a bit easier. I always like Impermanence, I'm a huge Impermanence fan. If you know me, I run this in pretty much every deck. 1 Ice Dragon's Prison, this used to be 2 copies until I decided to run the Sting Lancer. This can also just be a dimensional barrier, it really depends on how the meta is going to shape up. I think, honestly, Dimensional Barrier might be the right call because of decks like Sword Soul. What's Sword Soul going to do if they get Dimension barriered? Triton's triggers if you call Ritual. If there's some the Predaprint link, you can chain them barrier calling fusions. Or you can protect, or you can prevent in the first place. This card has a lot of utility. Dimensional Barrier has a lot of utility. Ice Dragon's Prison is one of the easy ways to get out of Dragoon, however. It's just very great interruption in general. It's one of the better normal traps. We got 2 of the Flying Sting. If you open this, it's still decent. When your opponent activates a monster effect, will control Beetrooper, you can just negate activation if you do destroy it. And during your end phase, not the end phase, your end phase, if it's in the grave, you control insect with 3000 more attack. Especially one of your bosses, you can banish an insect from the grave to set it. It doesn't banish itself, by the way, that's what makes this card kind of ridiculous. It doesn't banish itself, like most of these cards, after setting themselves again, banish themselves. This one doesn't. So I think that's something that stands out in this archetype, and at times I consider running this at 3. It does specifically require Beetrooper, and we got a decent amount of Beetroopers, but not that much, and yes, Link 2 exists, but it's only 1000 attack. So it's easy to run over your Beetrooper in most cases, unless you're able to climb to Link 4. But when you're able to go into Link 4, this card is honestly just huge. So yeah. Talked about these. This is just your Link 4, it's huge, 2 is enough, you don't make more. It's 3000 attack, which works with multiple cards. A lot of noise outside, I need to check that in a second. I believe it's like a bird in my window poking on it or something. Yeah, it definitely is actually. It explains a lot. I was like hearing weird noise, but that's just some bird outside ticking on my window, you know? Poking on my window, whatever you call it. Whatever. Anyways, back on track. Well, this Link summoned card is 3000 less attack, so if its attack remains unchanged or only gets reduced, your opponent cannot target with card effects, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. You cannot special summon monsters except insects, while you control this basically. Contribute to insect and activate all of these, this card gets started attack but then doesn't become immune. Can be useful to finish games, but that's about it. But the bow have nice effect special summon Beetrooper from your deck. That's almost always Sting Lancer. Just summoning Sting Lancer from the deck, switching your spell trap. It's very good. Very strong boss monster, that's why I run 2. Seraphim Papillion, I've considered cutting this card, I'm not a huge fan. So get 2 for each, get 2 plus monsters with different names, get 2 attack for each counter on it, can only use one of the following effect per turn. If it's Link summoned, can place a counter on this card for each infect monster uses Link material. Usually that's at least 2. Quick effect, can remove 1 counter from this card, special summon 1 level 4 lower insect monster from the graveyard to defense. Issue is, only 1 of the following effects per turn, so you cannot use the your turn, you have to wait for your opponent's turn for it to do anything. So I've kind of had Mixed results with this. I'm not sure if I still want to run this. Theoretically, it can revive something like Resonance Insect to give you more advantage. Or hell, even the Skill Bomber, which is a pseudo interrupt since it does destroy a monster effect. Like outside of that, I mean, I guess you could use an Insect at Armor to go into this, then revive the Armor its own effect, and then you didn't lead too much card advantage. Outside of that, this card hasn't impressed me too much. I've run it, but if you got anything from extra, I would cut this. Triple Armor, it can come up, so I run 3 of this. It surpasses Lake Monster, gives you additional normal, it can revive itself, so you can cheat into bigger Lake Monsters. Yeah, it's very nice. Double Pico Felina, you don't ever need more than 2 because it can recycle itself. So if it's linked summon, you can equip a card, I already talked about that part. But also, you can target 3 insect monsters in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, then draw 1 card. Which can include another copy of Pico Felina. It can infinitely recycle itself, so you only ever need 2 copies if you ask me. Unless you're afraid of getting negated, then I guess 3rd copy can come up, but yeah. And it's an insect. And then there's of course Almirage. The hype optimization for this deck is just not really realistic right now, because we don't know anything about the upcoming Insector spell. If the Insector spell is great, Insector Beetrooper will be huge going forward. By the way, will come out 1 week before the upcoming OSCS or something like that, or maybe 2 weeks, so that will be hell. And we don't know if Beetrooper will be getting more support. Or do we know that they don't? I don't know. At least. But this was my Beetrooper list. Soon I'll have the replays on the channel, and I hope you guys liked this video. I'm signing out. Have a beautiful day. Goodbye.